In titration, 17.6 centimetre cubed sulfuric acid. So let's put that 17.6 on top of the sulfuric acid straight away. With a concentration of 0.125 mole per decimetre cubed. So the concentration of sulfuric acid, 0.15 mole per decimetre cubed. Reacted with 25 centimetre cubed sodium hydroxide. So we've got 25 centimetre cubed sodium hydroxide, and we're calculating the concentration, so that's our question mark mole per decimetre cubed, that's the concentration of sodium hydroxide. And cross out the other bits here, we're not interested in those in this question. So this is a moles calculation, 3 stages to mole calculations. Stage 1, moles. Stage 2, stoichiometry. And stage 3, moles. The key is, of course, to pick the right moles equation. Moles, in this case, is going to equal volume, because we've got volume here, divided by 1,000, multiplied by the concentration. Now, you just have to learn that. Okay, now, it's important to plug the right numbers into stage 1. Stage 1, we use the substance that we have all the data for. So we've got a volume and a concentration for sulfuric acid, so we use that in stage 1. So stage 1 is going to be moles sulfuric acid. Let's write sulfuric acid down there and get in the habit of doing this. Because it's really important we use the right data. The question mark over here is going to be the sodium hydroxide, so that's actually going to be stage 3, so we're going to write question mark over there if that helps. 17.6 is the volume, 17.6 divided by 1,000 and multiplied by 0.125. 0.125 is the question mark. Put that in a calculator and you get your first set of marks in the exam. 17.6 divided by 1,000 multiplied by 0.125. So 2.2 times 10 to the minus 3 moles equals 2.2 times 10 to the minus 3 moles, and that was of sulfuric acid. So let's write sulfuric acid again. It's really important we know we've calculated the moles of sulfuric acid. Because we're now into stoichiometry. And in our equation here, there's no number before the sulfuric acid, so there is going to be a number 1 there. If there's no number, there's a 1. In our equation, 1 sulfuric acid, 1 mole of sulfuric acid reacts with 2 moles of sodium hydroxide, 2 moles of NaOH. Now, we don't have 1 mole. We've calculated we've got 2.2 times 10 to the minus 3 moles. And we want to know how many moles of sodium hydroxide. The sodium hydroxide is the question mark. Sodium hydroxide is the question mark. So we want to know how many moles of sodium hydroxide react with that 2.2 moles of sulfuric acid. So if 1 mole of sodium sulfuric acid reacts with 2 moles, let's put an arrow going from the 1 to the 2. If 1 mole of sulfuric acid reacts with 2 moles of sodium hydroxide, how do we get from 1 to 2? The answer is mathematically we have to multiply it by 2. So whatever we did to get from 1 to 2, we have to do to this 2.2 times 10 to the minus 3. We're going to multiply it by 2. 1 reacts with 2. This is a doubling relationship. So as our moles sulfuric acid, and we're simply going to multiply by 2 equals 4.4 times 10 to the minus 3. So we have just found that we have a need to have 4.4 times 10 to the minus 3 moles, and this time it's NaOH. Okay, so that's now stage 2. That's an important number. We're going to take that through the calculation to stage 3 now. Stage 3, moles again. So we know moles equals a volume divided by 1,000 times concentration. Well, there's our moles of sodium hydroxide. Our volume, we wrote up there as 25, and the question mark was the concentration. So we just need to rearrange this equation. Let's write all that in. 4.4 times 10 to the minus 3 moles. So there's our moles. Equals our volume, 25. 25 divided by 1,000, multiplied by the concentration, which is the question mark. So we need to rearrange this. First thing I'm going to do, first thing I always do, is just work out this 25 divided by 1,000, because it just makes the rearranging easier. I can put it into a formula triangle. So 4.4 times 10 to the minus 3 equals 25 divided by 1,000. 25 divided by 1,000 is 0.025 times question mark. Okay, so I now use formula triangles to rearrange because I never make mistakes if I use formula triangles. Formula triangles always have a divide there and a multiply there. And all you have to ask yourself is, what mathematical symbol do we have in this formula here? And the answer is a multiply. So on the right hand side of the multiplier is a question mark, so let's put that there. On the left hand side is 0.025, let's put that there. Which means 4.4 times 10 to the minus 3 has to go into the only space that's left, which is the top. Okay, finger over the question mark. 4.4 times 10 to the minus 3 divided by 0.025 is what my formula triangle tells me. So 4.4 times 10 to the minus 3 divided by 0.025, and that will be our final answer. Divided by 0.025 equals answer 0.176 moles per decimeter cubed. Mole per decimeter cubed is the unit for concentration. Don't forget the unit. There's our final answer. All these questions on ayleshamhighchemistry.com.